Over to you. Oh, but first we're going to have roll call.
Council President Bay.
Here.
Councilmember Burt.
Here, I can't really hear you.
Councilmember Cathcart. I'll try again. Councilmember Cathcart.
Present.
Okay. Councilmember Kinnear.
Present.
Councilmember Mumm. Councilmember Mumm. Councilmember Stratton.
Here.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Here.
Let the record reflect Councilmember Mumm is absent. Okay.
All right, yes, Councilmember Mumm was here, but she'll be back and we'll recognize her once she is. Now, Mr. Ormsby, I'm always so eager to turn the meeting over to you that I forget roll call regularly. Luckily, people remind me. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Council President and members of the council. In the administrative session for next week on the consent agenda, we have 5 items. The first is a recommendation on purchases by Fleet Services for the Water Department, and Lauren Searle is here to present these items.
Good evening, Council. This afternoon we have purchase requests for 2 vehicles. One is a construction service truck. This on a Kenworth chassis with a service bed onboard air compressor for $208,001. We also have a valve truck, which is the same chassis with a crane and hydraulics added to it. That runs $319,353. Both of these are sourced through a Sourcewell contract.
Any questions for Lauren? Thank you, Lauren. Next, we have a proposed 5-year contract for off-site record storage and retrieval, and Terry Pfister, our city clerk, is going to present this item.
Yes, this is a 5-year contract with Access Information Protected for off-site record storage and retrieval services for city departments. The estimated annual cost is not to exceed $54,000 a year or $270,000 for the 5-year period. The current contract expires at the end of the year, and earlier this month the city went through an RFP process and the review committee selected Access. The city has approximately 21,000 boxes stored off-site, which is approximately 25,000 square feet. The boxes are regular standard banker box size, which is 15 inches by 12 inches by 10 inches. Monthly storage cost is 0.1391 cents per cubic foot, or close to 17 cents per box. The cost for deliveries and returns is $1.03 per file or box, and the standard delivery or pickup fee is $4.89 cents per trip location for every 50 boxes delivered or picked up. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Terry. Next, we have a proposed contract renewal with Toby's Body and Fender for auto repair services, and David Payne from Fleet Services is here to present this item.
Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. This is a renewal contract with Toby's Body and Fender, Inc. for $385,000, including taxes. This contract will run for 1 year, and it's for as-need services for body damage repair for the city of Spokane. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, David. And then finally, we have the 2 placeholder items. The first is the report of the mayor for claims and payments of previously approved obligations, both with libraries and parks and then without library and parks, and then payroll claims. And those amounts will be filled in prior to next week's meeting. And then the final item is the proposed approval of city council meeting minutes. And again, that will be completed prior to next week's agenda. Then we go to the legislative agenda on final reading ordinances. The first is the ordinance relating to the fire code, and I see Lance Dahl is with us today. These items have been briefed previously to both a council committee, and Lance was with us last week as well. but is here again if anybody has any questions that they'd like to raise at this point. Okay, seeing none. The next two ordinances relate to the business improvement area and the assessment rules, and I'll cover those under the hearing items later in the agenda, but both Chris Green and Mike Piccolo are here to answer any questions you might have there. And the final reading ordinance is an ordinance correcting a section updating the property tax levy for 2021, and Paul and Josie from the Budget Office is here with us.
I'm here. Good afternoon, Council. This corrects a staff error when drafting the ordinance for the property tax levy that you all passed back on November 9th, I believe. We inadvertently left out language under the public safety levy lid lift section to update it for the second year of that levy. It needs to specify what the 1% would raise, which I think is about $60,000 above the prior year, the first year of the levy. So it's language on page 2 of the amended ordinance under section 2. It's section C and D are pretty standard boilerplate to satisfy the county's assessor's office so that we can levy the full 1% for 2021. But happy to take any questions.
Okay. Not seeing any, we'll move then to the first reading ordinances. First is an ordinance relating to the executive and administrative organization of the city. And this was briefed to committee, I believe, last week. And both Amber Richards and Mike Piccolo are here if council members have any questions regarding this proposed ordinance. Okay. Next, the next two ordinances relate to the changing of Fort George Wright Drive and the Shelby Ridge Street. And Tammy Palmquist is here. Both of these items have been discussed in committee, and I know at least one of them was subject to a hearing before the Plan Commission. And so if any council members have any questions regarding these ordinances, again, Tammy is here to respond to them.
Mike, Councilmember Cathcart here. I just wondering, has there been any further feedback from folks who have addresses on Fort George Wright regarding the proposed name?
I have not received any additional feedback or comments, only asking when the hearing is.
Okay, and they do know that it's under consideration and that we'll be voting soon?
Yes, so Karen, I'll let you jump in. Letters were sent to the people along the roadway, which is required. We published notice in the Gazette and the spokesman. And I've emailed everybody that submitted written comment up to this point. And then we're just letting all of our other channels know. It is on our webpage for the project page on the planning section. So anyway, we're trying to get the notice out there. We are above and beyond what the statute requires.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tammy. Now we move to special considerations, and the first is the continued presentation of the ordinance by police for fleet purchase. And I understand there's been a great deal of discussion between staff and members of the council, which I presume will continue before the consideration next week. And if anyone has any additional issues or questions, please feel free to be in touch with Tanya Wallace or with police.
And Mike, I'm just going to jump in that we are going to have further information presented to us at Public Safety on Monday afternoon. So I think that will be the time for people to discuss further. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you, Council President.
And Michael?
Yes.
There was another street name ordinance that Tammy did not get the opportunity to address. That Shelby Ridge Street. So I don't know if Tammy had anything she wanted to speak to that on.
Oh, sorry to move so quickly. Anything to add there?
So this street name change was actually from last year's street name change packet that did go through Plan Commission, had a public hearing with Plan Commission and was approved. We decided due to COVID that it was not in the best interest of the community to further those street name changes, both for COVID and the election that happened, there was some worry about people not getting their mail. This one has no addresses on it. It is a small segment of road. It used to go to an unplatted area that has now been platted. They have their street named. This segment was a different name. It was causing confusion. So since it didn't affect anyone, we're bringing this forward to make sure that there was consistency in the street. Glad I stuck around.
Yeah, I'll more specifically ask this time if anyone has any other questions for Tammy before I cut her off again. Sorry about that. Next, we go to hearings, and it's become the favorite hearing coming into today, and that's the continuation of the public hearing on the proposed 2021 budget. And Paul and Josie is still here and will be here till the budget is approved, and hopefully after that as well. But if there's any other issues or questions for Paul to address, please feel free to do so now, and he will be there next week as well. And then finally, I will go to the hearing on the final reading ordinance. There are two of them for the downtown and East Sprague bids. And both Chris Green and Mike Piccolo are here to respond to any issues or questions. And of course, the hearings are set for next week. So are there any issues or questions that you would care to discuss? Okay, great. Thank you. That, Council President and members of the council, concludes the presentation of the advanced agenda for the December 7th meeting.
I'm looking for a motion to approve the advanced agenda for December 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, or any discussion? I will note for the record that Councilmember Mumm has been with us for a while. I promised I'd note that she was back. Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, the advanced agenda is approved. That brings us to this evening's agenda. There are at least a couple of requests for changes. One is a change to consent item number 9 to A and B to substitute another version of those. Is that correct, Ms. Pfister?
Correct.
Is there a motion to make that substitution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right.
Second.
Any discussion?
Could I get who moved that? I didn't catch that.
Yes. Could the mover please?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Got it. All right. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right. Item 9A and B from the consent have been substituted. There is also now on the legislative agenda, there was a request to substitute a new version of Ordinance C35982, which is the sales and use tax, commonly known as 1590 from the state legislative. Mr. McClatchy circulated that substituted language earlier. Is there a motion to substitute?
So moved substitution.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the substitution indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, that is substituted. Then there is another request for substitution for Ordinance C35987, known as the Park Rules Ordinance. Is there a motion to substitute that version that was circulated by Mr. Byrd?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? One nay. Mr. Cathcart? Any abstentions? All right, hearing none. That is substituted. And Ms. Pfister, I couldn't remember if you told me one other one. No,
was it.
that was it. Okay, I followed directions. Excellent.
Council President?
Yes. Councilmember Stratton.
We did, Brian McClatchy did send out a substitution of ordinance C 35981 relating to golf cart zones.
Okay.
And what we would like to do is substitute this version. What that does is it requires that the signs, all the signs in each of the neighborhoods that are required to go up before the zones open for golf carts. And it also establishes a 2-year pilot program with the golf cart zones.
All right, so I'm taking that as a motion to substitute with the version Mr. McClatchy circulated. Is
Yes.
there a second?
Second that.
Okay, it's been seconded. Any discussion about the substitution? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of substituting indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right. That is also substituted. Are there any other proposed motions regarding tonight's legislative agenda? All right. Hearing none. We're just about to do the consent agenda. I am just going to note for people's information 2 things. One, we are going to consider a couple of substantive things that we agreed last week to put on 3:30, so that's coming up. Secondly, I'm going to move the 1590 to last on the agenda because there's several staff members who are here for other hearings, so I just kind of wanted to, that's probably going to have the most comment, so I'm going to move that to the last. And that's all. So with that, Ms. Pfister, if you would like to read the consent agenda.
Reports, contracts, and claims. Number 1, purchase from Triangle Pump and Equipment Incorporated, Ridgeville, Washington, of vertical turbine replacement pumps and motors for the Park Water Well Station for the Water Department, $541,448.48, including tax. Number 2, value blanket renewal number 1 of 2 with North Star Chemical, Tacoma, Washington, for the purchase of sodium hydroxide 50% membrane caustic soda for the waste energy facility from February 1, 2021 through January 31, 2022, not to exceed $66,000 excluding tax. Number 3, value blanket with Wemco Incorporated, Spokane, Washington, for the as-needed purchase of mechanical OEM parts for the refuse crane system at the waste to-energy facility from December 1, 2020 through November 30, 2021, not to exceed $100,000, including tax. Number 4, value blanket renewal with Action Materials, Cheney, Washington, for debris recycling and purchase of recycled materials to be used by the Street Water and Wastewater Maintenance Department on an as-needed basis, $300,000, including tax. Number 5, value blanket order with Norco, Spokane, Washington, for miscellaneous compressed gases for the various city departments for a 5-year period. Annual estimated expenditure, $75,000, including tax. Number 6, value blanket renewal with Spokane House of Hose Incorporated, Spokane, Washington, for a keep fill system for hydraulic hoses and fittings. Estimated expenditure of $120,000, including tax. Number 7, contracts with CompuNet Incorporated, Grangeville, Idaho, for A, the purchase of Cisco and F5 network hardware implementation and 1-year maintenance and support, $88,107.78, including tax. B, providing Cisco network hardware 1-year maintenance and support and 3 years licensing utilizing Washington State Contract Number 01114, NASPO number AR 23314-19, $507,550.48, including tax. Number 8, contract renewal with Rogue Heart Media Incorporated, Spokane, Washington, for water stewardship and stormwater media services, not to exceed $100,000, including tax. Number 9, local area A&E professional services consultant agreements for 2021 to 2022 non-federal aid projects with A, OAC Services Incorporated, Spokane, Washington, for construction management services not to exceed $400,000, various neighborhoods. B, Parametrics Incorporated, Spokane, Washington, for construction management services not to exceed $800,000 for various neighborhoods. Number 10, contract with Parametrics Incorporated, Spokane, Washington, to provide sewer lift station assessment, $640,000. Number 11, consulting contract with Jacobs Engineering Group, Spokane, Washington, to perform a risk assessment study of the city's wastewater and stormwater systems, $73,458, including tax if applicable. Number 12, contract with Northeast Public Development Authority to distribute remaining uncommitted portion of Community Investment Plan funds, $100,000. Number 13, contract with American Recycling Corporation, Spokane Valley, Washington, for the sale of the waste-to-energy facility metals, ash, and scrap metals from the tipping floor from January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2021, approximately $70,000 revenue. Number 14, contract with Faust Fabrication Company, Colville, Washington, for as-needed off-site grapple repairs for the waste-to-energy facility from December 1, 2020 through November 30, 2021, not to exceed $85,000 annually, excluding tax. Number 15, report of the mayor of pending claims and payments of previously approved obligations, including those of Parks and Library through November 2020. Total $17,422,987.57 with Parks and Library claims approved by the respective boards. Warrants excluding Parks and Library total $16,474,434.18. Number 16, City Council meeting minutes for November 16 and November 19, 2020. Number 17, Resolution 2020-87, setting hearing before the City Council for January 4, 2021 for the vacation of the alley bounded by Riverside, Sprague, Medelia, and Helena, as requested by Calistar Holdings Incorporated. Number 18, final reading ordinance C-35-937 for the vacation of various rights-of-way south of East North Foothills Drive and west of Perry Street, and more particularly described in the ordinance, as requested by the Spokane School District to accommodate the Northeast Middle School.
All right, any discussion, questions about those items? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as read, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right. Those are all approved. And unless anyone has any other business, we'll see you back at 6 p.m. this evening. We're adjourned.